What's up, nerds? This is Robothead, and we're going to learn how to code. So this is Code Academy, if you're not familiar with that. And if you are familiar with that, then you should probably just continue on your way on Code Academy. However, if you are having issues with learning how to code, even with using self-help sites like Code Academy, or Treehouse, or Iron Yard, or all those other places you can go for boot camps, then this is the video for you. I'm making this to help people who still need things to be broken down further. This is not for people who already know how to code, obviously. This is not for people who even remotely, slightly, possibly understand the most basics of any type of scripting, coding, programming language, markup language. This is for those of you who have tried, and even with following along some of the most basic instructions, it's still not clicking, and which is completely fine. It's completely okay. That doesn't mean that you can't learn to code. It just means that you need to be taught in a different manner, or you need someone to be able to answer questions, which I will do in the comments to the best of my ability. And it means that maybe you just need somebody to further explain instructions. So, to get started, we're starting the very first lesson, very first block, very first of everything on Code Academy with JavaScript. So if you're going to follow along, you're going to need to go ahead and navigate to www.codeacademy.com. You can just do a Google search for that, and I can actually bring that up so that you can see. There we go. So right here, you would go codeacademy.com. Actually, let's go ahead and just do this ourselves so we can go ahead and see it. And then for me, it's saying welcome back because I've been doing some tutorials with the JavaScript stuff. You're going to be needing to sign up, create an account, all that good stuff. I just created an account using my Facebook login. Makes it much easier. And then you will see some selection of different skills here. There's a ton. There's PHP, Python, Ruby, jQuery, HTML, and CSS, JavaScript. I don't really consider this learning how to code. This is a markup language, but we can get into that some other time. So we're going to JavaScript, and we are underneath Introduction to JavaScript, getting started with programming, time to become a coding champ. So very first lesson, 1 of 28, getting started with programming. What is your name? Hi, let's get to know each other. What is your name? Simple instructions. Write your name within quotes like this. And many of the instructions and many of the drills are laid out just like this. However, they can get slightly more complicated than this. So we will go ahead and see what it looks like when you save and submit without the correct answer. Oops, try again. And then we simply do what the instructions ask. My name is Ryan, and we've put it between quotes. Now we save and submit our code. Way to go. Next lesson. Okay, so discover the length. What would the length of your name be? Instructions. To discover the length of your name, write your name within quotes. Then write a period, which equates to full stop, and the word length like this. Your name in quotes, dot, length. When you're done, click Save and Submit. Do this from now on every time you finish an exercise, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so basically what we're doing is we are writing our name like we did in the first drill in quotes, and then we're putting a dot, which equates to full stop, or otherwise known as a period. I just like to say dot, and then length. So let's write this out. I always write my quotes first, put my name in there, full stop, length. You see it light up as it recognizes the syntax. So that's something you want to pay attention to. If we were to misspell that, you can see it doesn't light up. So our code editor here, our text editor, is not recognizing that syntax, which can kind of clue you in the future that something's not quite right. Alright, save and submit code. And as you can see right here, before we move on, we have the number 4. And so it happens that there are 4 letters or 4 characters in my name. So you can kind of get an idea already of what dot length is doing for us. Next lesson. Basic math. Alright, great job. Now let's do some math, which is the major thing that you'll do with most coding. Let's add any two numbers like this, 3 plus 4. So let's not do 3 plus 4. Let's do 8 plus 8. And once again, we see our numbers lighting up in our syntax. Save and submit code, and there's our answer, or which would technically be considered our console or our output, 16. So far, like you've seen, we're on drill 3, and we're just simply following instructions. You can use the command line to do basic math operations. Try playing around with some more. You can use star for multiplication and slash for division if you want. Enter another valid expression to pass this lesson. Alright, so we'll do 8 times 8. Proper spacing just to keep things readable. Save and submit. 64. Alright, moving on. Alright, there are some things you can't do in console. Computers only speak certain languages, like the one you've been using today, JavaScript. And a good point, you can see eggplant here is not lighting up. Our editor is not recognizing this as any form of our syntax, and it kind of clues us in and says, hey, something's not right here. Try to confuse the interpreter by using a word it doesn't know, like eggplant for instance, and we'll get a reference error. Let's just try race car. Save and submit. There we go. Well done, you've confused the computer. Reference error, race car is not defined, meaning that it doesn't know what race car is. It doesn't know anything about it. So far we've been writing code in the editor. Now let's see what 2 lines. Let's start with that. This is for comments. A comment line is a line of text that JavaScript won't try to run as code. It's just for humans to read. So for example, we could put anything we want here. And the computer will not attempt to run it as code. And normally we would have to put 2 more lines like that, but this particular editor is smart enough to know this continuing on from there. But just for the sake of it, we'll do that. Okay, so instructions: the computer will ignore the code on lines 1 through 2 since it is commented out. So we've added our own lines here, but basically anything that's in front of these slashes is commented out. The computer knows that when it sees these slashes, do not read, do not attempt to run this as code, just ignore it completely and move on. On line 3, in our case line 5 here, find the length of the word cake. And like all drills on Codecademy, you can click stuck if you need a hint, and we can find the length of the word Emily like this: Emily dot full stop length semicolon. If you comment out your new code, it won't run. Make sure it's not commented out. So instead of doing cake, let's do race car. Only this time we're putting it in full quotes. Race car, full stop, length. Can't spell very well. And as you can see, it's lighting up, so we know that our editor is aware and the syntax is not necessarily valid, but at least it understands it, as opposed to where this is all grayed out. And because we don't have the lines, the slashes in front of it, it's not commented out. But if we were to put the lines there, now it's commented out, and our editor cannot see that. It does not read it, it ignores it, so it fails and tells us to try again. We remove the comment and save and submit, and there we go, we have 7. But it's still failing because it specifically wants the length of cake. So let's see, we'll try to make it happy. Cake dot length. Remember, dot stands for full stop. Save and submit code. Alright, there we go, and the length of cake is 4. Moving on. This is JavaScript, a programming language. There are many languages, but JS has many uses and is easy to learn, which I agree with. And there's lots of libraries out there, and even if you have no intentions of learning JavaScript for building websites or doing DOM manipulation, you can certainly use JavaScript to write many other types of programs, web applications, games, HTML5, and Canvas, and the list goes on and on. JavaScript is even used to do scripting and editing in powerful engines, game engines like Unity. So it's very useful to learn. Okay, instructions. Press save, submit code, see an example. Okay, so we're just moving on. Next lesson. So we're already on lesson 8 of 28, moving right along. Interactive JavaScript. What we just saw was a fun example of how JavaScript can be interactive. Try it yourself. Instructions. Write your own message that you want the user to confirm. Alright. So building on what we learned just a second ago, let's comment these out because these are stupid and we don't want to use these. And we want to write our own. So confirm, parentheses, semicolon. So let's talk about that real quick. Confirm is our method, and our semicolon here is just to tell it to stop. That is the end, and to move on to the next line. JavaScript uses this. Not all coding or scripting programming languages do that. We are going to put a message in here that will pop up and actually ask the user, or it will show this user this message. So confirm you are a code champ, question mark. And if we save and submit this, it actually pops up and says you are a code champ, confirm, cancel, okay. Yes, we are, okay. True, as we see in the output. And we could do that over and over again with various different phrases in here. The important thing is that you're following the syntax. So we have confirm, then we have a closed parentheses followed by a semicolon. In here we put full quotations, and we put our string in here. That our string is our line of text or our sentence that we want to present the user with. So we can put winning question mark. Ooh, wait a second, my bad, go back. See if it'll pick up where we left off. Maybe not. Sorry about that. Where were we? There we go, number 8. Okay, so confirm, winning, save and submit code. There we go, winning. Alright, moving on. Okay, program is like writing a list of instructions to the computer so it can do cool stuff with your information. So that's a pretty relaxed way of saying that you have to specifically lay out every detail, word for word, number for number, of what you want the computer to do. If you don't, it cannot interpret for you, so it will make a mistake. At my job and all my previous jobs, I always say that computers are stupid. They don't know what you want them to do without being given very specific instructions. Granted, they can do amazing things, and they can do things very quickly, especially repetitive tasks like parsing through a email or a block of text and looking for keywords or something that humans would do much slower. But computers cannot do a task like parsing through an email for a specific block of text without being giving very specific instructions on how to parse it, where the email may live, what block of text it's looking for, and what to do with it when it finds it. So that's what programming in a nutshell is. So instructions for lesson 9: use the prompt command to ask the user where they are from. Check out the examples above for how to do this. So this is very similar to the confirm that we were just using. Let's make a couple lines down here. So instead of confirm, like we were doing before, we're going to use prompt. Full parentheses, semicolon, full quotations, and then we would put how old are you? And then we prompt the user by saying, how old are you? And it's got a text input box, and whatever you put in here will be the answer that the computer will receive. So we will put 99, and then you see that appear in the console. because that was the answer given by the user to the computer. Moving on. Alright, lesson 10. So this will be where we stop for this video. Data types 1 and 2, numbers and strings. Data comes in various types. You have used to already, so you're very familiar with these. You probably just don't know the lingo. Numbers are quantities, just like you're used to. You can do math with them. Strings are sequence of characters like letters, A through Z, spaces, and even numbers. These are all strings. Ryan, for, what is your name? Strings are extremely useful as labels, names, and contents of your program. To make a number in your code, just write a number as numerals without quotes. So let's talk about that for a second. The number 8 is not, the computer will not see that number 8 the same as it sees this number 8. This number 8 is in full quotes, so it will read it as a string. String. This is seen as a integer. That's important to understand. Not really necessarily important right this particular lesson, but just be aware that there's a difference between numbers that have full quotes around them and numbers that do not have full quotes. No quotes, full quotes. Full quotes equals a string, no quotes, integer. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve this problem. So the instructions say, write a string with at least 3 words. Check out the examples of strings below. Number 2, find the length of the string by writing a period, full stop, and the word length like this. So start off with, very simply, we can put our string in between full quotes. That's how we declare it as a string. So this is a string. Then to find the length of it, it's period, which equates to full stop, length, I can't spell, and semicolon. Always remember the semicolon. Let's comment this out. Remember, we learned that commenting out makes it so the interpreter will not read it. So here's our string. This is a string, and then we'll put a full stop, letting the computer know stop, and then the next command, length. Save and submit, and we see that the string, this is a string, literally equates to 16 characters, including spaces. Okay, so that's where we'll stop, and in my next video we'll continue on and get into slightly more complex data types, and we'll start to learn how to do true-false statements and if and else statements, and we start getting into a little bit of code coverage and decision coverages and decision statements, so that we can actually make nifty programs like choose your own adventure games and things like that. So if you enjoyed this, hopefully this broke it down even more. I know Code Academy seems kind of simple at first, but it can kind of ramp up in difficulty pretty quickly, especially for somebody that has absolutely no coding experience or no computer science class history or experience. And that's really no reason for somebody not to learn how to code, especially if they're interested in doing it. Whether it be for a hobby or you're looking to change your career path, learning how to code can be very beneficial for many different reasons. Okay, thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe. Also put in the comments anything that you'd be interested in learning specifically. It doesn't have to be on Code Academy. I can do specific tutorials, especially around JavaScript in particular. And like I said, we'll be getting into some actual game development later on in this same series once we learn some more basic JavaScript. Alright, thanks for watching.